right, Fit Rockstar here, and we have with us professional MMA fighter for Bellator, Jessica Borga. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did. You say it right. Other people do not.
Hey, there we go. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's
all the
an
way
honor.
from St. Petersburg, Tampa?
Close enough. It's 45 minutes Lakeland. Central, right in the middle of Tampa and Orlando.
Way off. So, how was your flight? Good?
Everything was perfect. Fine? It was
perfect?
Smooth. It was like it was meant to happen.
Can I tell you, you're very sweet.
I try to be. There's we
Until
all
you
have
kick
our
somebody's
faults.
ass,
That's
right?
Someone always talks to me when they meet me. They're like, you're so sweet. How do you do what you do? I was like, well, it's kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde thing. Everyone has their faults, and I have a dark passenger that I need to kind of let loose sometimes, and that's my portal. Instead of doing it the criminal way or
the
bad
criminal
way.
way. Okay. All right, I get it. So you're from Florida originally?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
How in the world, with your gorgeous looks, booming personality, and all this stuff, did you end up as an MMA fighter, of all things?
It's actually a crazy story. My past was really bad. It was a lot of trauma. A lot of bad stuff happened to me when I was younger. And I think I channeled it in a way of getting in trouble a lot in school. And I hate saying that because I don't want anyone to be like, oh, she was trouble. Look what she ended up. It took me a lot to do what I did. So I channeled it in a wrong way for a long time because of a lot of reasons. But
so you're saying you're a big bully in school?
Actually, I didn't even realize. I thought I was too, but when I got older, I started talking to people that I actually went to school with that probably thought that I was going to amount to nothing, that I was probably going to end up in prison because I was violent. But I talked to them, and they're like, you never started anything. You always defended the people that couldn't defend themselves. So I actually was the bully to the bullies. And it was like a vigilante, and I had no idea until people actually brought that up to me, and I was like, you're right. I defended the people that couldn't defend for themselves. And I don't know if it's because of my past trauma that I felt like I needed to. And I also, after school and everything, I went to bars and I would beat up the guys that put their hands on women.
Oh,
because that's a big thing for me. That's one of the reasons why I got into MMA is domestic violence. I was raised in it, and then I was in relationships with it. So that's a big thing for me. I do not like that. So I think that was just a portal for me to get out all that aggression.
So tell me a story real quick. So you're in a bar and you seen some guy being aggressive to some girl, and what'd you do? You said, excuse me, pow!
No, I got in between them and I pushed him, I shoved him, and I said, well, why don't you fight a girl that'll fight you like a man? And that's what kind of started that.
Did you kick his ass?
He swung at me, and I didn't know I don't know how to do it, properly, the technical way, but I was aggressive, and I slipped it, and I hit him with one punch, and I was actually wearing a jean skirt and heels, and I knocked him out. I have a powerful punch, luckily. So I knocked him out with one punch, and I remember his friend standing over him. You just got knocked out by a girl in heels. Okay, I wasn't sure if I could.
You can cuss on here.
Yeah. So it was hilarious because I remember laughing, because I wasn't expecting to get into anything, and I was in heels, so it was kind of funny.
Right? Yeah. How tall are you?
5'7", and heels probably 5'11", 5'10", depending.
You weigh what,
150 to 155 usually.
I was going to say 140, but I didn't want to get my ass.
Oh, I love that. No, thank you. Okay. I fight at 145, so I'm actually really close to my weight class. Comparatively speaking, a lot of girls cut a lot of weight. So all the girls that I fought, if you have seen any of the girls that I have fought in my weight class at 145, they're 6 foot and 5'11". I fought 3 girls so far in Bellator, and they're all giants.
Now, they have a bantamweight and a featherweight?
So they don't actually have a bantamweight.
They don't have bantamweight.
Right now.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Which is fine because I actually can fight more often at 145 because I don't have the weight. I don't have like a weight cut that most people do. So I actually like being weight ready and fight ready. But there's advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah. So you actually were going to fight for UFC, but you turned it down, right?
They offered a contender series, yes.
Dana White was interested in you, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know if he per se or just the company or whoever offered to my manager, my coach. And they wanted me also at 125. Right. I used to fight at 125 a long time ago, and it was a bad weight cut for me. It's very hard for me to get down to 125. Am I a giant at 125? Yeah, Did I win by knockout most? Yeah, but it was hurting my health. That's actually what made it so difficult for me to cut weight after that, because by the third time I cut to 125, I started having health issues and almost died.
Oh my God.
That was my first loss. So I'm done with the 125. I wasn't going to do that. So
let's talk about your first show with the Bellator, because that was a big deal.
Yes, and it was amazing.
Tell me about that.
That's my best and most memorable fight. It was kind of a last minute. It was a shorter fight camp than normal, and I had just won off Titan FC. And literally the fight before Titan FC, I had my jaw broke, and I fought 3 rounds with 2 fractures in my nose and a broke jaw. But I never gave up. Like through the whole fight, I knew it broke when it broke. I could hear it snap. I did not tell my coach in between rounds. And I even told her afterwards when, I knew she won, and I went up and shook her hands. I was like, oh, you broke my jaw. Good job. But so I went and got surgery. They gave me 3 different choices of what kind of surgery to have. And, you can get your jaw wired. All right. That's a fast recovery, but it's easy to break again. And there's another one that's like a little tiny titanium plate. And then there's the major surgery that I actually picked to do. And there's 2 titanium plates in my jaw. But it's more durable because I was not finished. I was not done with fighting. So I actually took, as soon as I got cleared, that fight for Titan FC on 10 days' notice with a champion boxer.
10 days notice.
With a champion boxer, and I beat her in the first round.
Wow.
And then, so that fight, I think, because Dana White was there at Titan FC. And that's probably what got me noticed there. And that's what, it was shortly after that they wanted me for the Contender Series, even though I fought 135 at Titan FC. I went with Bellator and went up a weight class. They offered more. Bellator pays their fighters good. They allow you to have your sponsors. Sponsors help out us so much because fighter pay is not good. It's it's not, even if unless you're like Conor McGregor style. What I'm saying? Like you got to get up there, and I'm not the mouthy one, so I probably will never be that great. But yeah, so they offered for the first fight, and I was fighting a veteran in the sport too. She's been there a while. She was 6 foot, very good stand up, but I had never felt better. I was coming off that win, I felt great, and I submitted her in the first round. So I knocked one, I won one by TKO, and then all my wins have been in the first round so far. So
yeah, I've seen that. You don't play around.
It was not usually. No, the last 2 fights have been a little bit different since it was a year and a half off of COVID, and I came back and I took the fight, and I wasn't me. So I don't know. These last 2 fights, the last one was a little bit better than the one before, but it still wasn't me.
Do you think the COVID had part of that, just being isolated?
I'm wondering. I mean, I know time off. They say cage rust, ring rust. I didn't think that was even a thing, to be honest with you, but it definitely could be a possibility. But I did actually have 2 surgeries in between my last 2 fights, and they were major things that were going on with my body. I didn't realize that was going on for so long, and it was just a freak thing. Like if I hadn't almost died in the hospital and had everything that was going on with me and felt the way I did, I would have thought someone was playing a prank on me. Like this is a joke, right? They just kept coming in with like sepsis and pneumonia, and like you aspirated in the first surgery, and I had 2 surgeries within 5 days. As soon as I got cleared from those, I got the fight of my last one, and it was the biggest fight of my career so far. And I wish I would have been able to have more time to be able to really perform like I know I can, but I wasn't going to pass up that opportunity.
Sure.
So it was my debut on the main card for Bellator, and I only lost decision. She actually looked worse than me after the fight, and
giant.
So funny story about that too is that on her fight stuff, like we were planning. It said 5'8". She was 5'8". I'm 5'7", so I was like, oh, I'm finally someone that's closer to my weight or my size. Nope. She was 5'11". She cut down from 170 something pounds, which that's fine. I almost submitted her twice in the first round, and I had her in the beat down position in the last 10 seconds of the first round. She never came close as I did to finishing her, but she did. She played it smart. She changed her entire game and ran away from me the entire time. And
so she was a wussy.
She was tougher. I'll give her credit. She was tougher than, I don't know how she got out of my Kimura. I can tell you, I don't know. It's amazing, but she was tougher than I.
You were bloody as tell. Like you can tell you were vicious. You had that look like, I'm going to fuck you.
I wanted to, yeah. I still wasn't me. I'm usually even more aggressive than that.
Huh.
And so, I don't know. I think I went under anesthesia 3 times in 5 months last year. And I know it takes a lot out of you, but I didn't realize how much it could take out of you. And I really think that has more to do with it than anything. I think I needed time. Like, this is the first time in actually 7.5 years that I've actually taken, because I just got married, you know.
Yeah.
And I went on my honeymoon.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Very happy. Never thought I could be this happy. But I took some time off, actually. This is the first time in probably 9 years of training that, well, I mean, I've only been training MMA for 7.5, but I did strength training, and I actually took time off. I felt like I needed it. So I can't wait to get back.
Was it hard for you, though, to take that time off?
Yes, I beat myself up every day because I felt like I wasn't doing enough. I never feel like I'm doing enough.
You're a perfectionist.
Yeah, to the point of it's a fault, I think. Everyone's like, you got to relax on yourself.
So you've just done MMA fighting. Have you done anything else? You ever did a show competing? Because you do have a beautiful
I was going
physique.
to. A lot of people actually told me that I had this physique for
You
it.
have a beautiful
and I
physique.
was going to, but man, MMA takes up all my time.
Right.
And it really does. That's why, I did the WWE, and that was for a second. And I just want to focus on my fight because I really want to achieve what I want to achieve with MMA. Because I got started late in the game, to be honest with you.
What's considered late?
I was almost 27, and most people, and I had a fresh slate. Most people at least have done one martial art or like wrestling or something that could have got them a base in the MMA. I had my aggression. I was a brawler. That's
So how does that work?
Street
So
brawl doesn't
you're a
count.
brawler. You had all this anger, aggression. You just said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna be an MMA fighter.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
Is that how that works? You just go
So
in-
somebody told me to actually, they're like, hey, you'd be great at MMA. I was like, it was actually the guy I was dating at the time. He's like, you should just come in and try it, because he was very good friends with my coach that owns Champions MMA, Ross Kellen. And I was like, all right, that's cool. I went in there, and from that first class, I was hooked. I felt like that's what I was meant to do. So that's become.
What was your first
more.
fight like?
So it was, I want to say 6 to 8 months after I started, because I had to train so long at least. And I won in less than, it was like 10 seconds by knockout. Wow. So it was incredible. I was like, is it over? I didn't know, because it was so fresh for me and I was so excited. But it was great. I actually won my first 2 amateur fights by knockout. And
Tell me
then
about a knockout. Some people don't understand.
yes, so
knockout.
there's different ones. You can be knocked out cold, where they don't get up for a
Yes.
few seconds. Or you can knock them out, like where they get knocked down and they wake up when they hit the mat. So it's like a flash knockout.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the other ones where you get hit and you see flashes of light. So you're not able to see what you're doing, so it kind of looks like you're disorganized, just
Right.
not there. But it's not technically a knockout. Or you have the TKO, where the ref pulls you off of them, which I have had, because they're not defending themselves and they're gonna get hurt.
And you're still just kicking.
And
their-
I'm just
So
pounding
you're that
them.
mean.
Yes. No, I have that side. I have that side. I just I don't know. I have a tattoo on my back that says my curse, and that's.
Are we going to see that later? Okay. Anyway, wow.
But yeah, it's a curse, but it's also a blessing, I guess, for my sport. But
It's a big blessing. Are you
it doesn't
kidding me?
always come out when I need it to, though. That's what sucks. It's like, come on, man.
It's really drives you nuts that you just like, what is this that's not giving me my full 100% potential?
I've never felt what I've felt in the last 2 fights, and it bothers me to the point where, if it's cardio, you can fix it. If it's technique, you can fix it. You can work on it until it's better. If it's mental because I'm so not understanding what's going on, I don't know what it is, so how am I going to fix it? And I feel like at a loss. And
What
it
if
really
you grab
sucks.
somebody from the street and threw them in the gym and just started beating the crap out of them? Does that help?
No, I don't know. See? No, I don't think it would. To an extent, I guess, yes, I would be, tired, and I'd be like, I got all my aggression out. But I feel really bad for that person after because they don't know any of the technical stuff. And it didn't help me in the long run. I need to I need to fight someone that I like challenges. Have always fought people, and my coach knows it too because he's always well aware that I'll take any fight, even if I know that they're better than me at that moment. I'm going to get better, though. So,
Sure.
I always want to challenge myself. I don't want easy fights. I never have, never will.
That's a real athlete warrior because these people, a lot of them, they want that easy.
Oh, yeah.
Like in bodybuilding, they want to get that easy show for the easy win. No, you want to work for it.
It makes you feel better if you work for it.
Yes.
And if you don't, so like the fighters that to cheat, you're technically you're not allowed to do any of the stuff that makes you stronger. And actually, the girl that broke my jaw, we requested her to get tested. It was in her hometown, and we were the main event. And we didn't even know as professional fighters that you can deny a request because I knew I was going to get tested too. But we looked at her and we're like, all right, at
like
least.
Amazon.
Oh, she looked like she had a turtle
Right,
shell for
right,
abs. Like,
right.
come on, man. I work out all the time.
Right.
I do not look like that.
Right.
And I knew I was all clean, and I don't want to ever use it because I would feel like I'm cheating.
Right.
So they denied our request, and I was like, I didn't even know that was possible for them to do that because at least if she had won, I was still going to fight her.
Right.
We wouldn't even know the results until after the fight. But that win would have been taken away from her. But we were confirmed because we knew where her where she wrestled and everything. Someone confirmed, like, oh, she's been on it since she had surgeries and everything.
Is there a lot of people who do?
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
There's
I'd rather
a
it be
lot,
raw.
A lot, I know. I would rather it not be like that, but because it's not fair to the people that's not.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That girl was the strongest girl I've ever felt, and I'm the only girl at my gym. I train with guys that are 150 pounds to 230 plus. I know what strong feels like, and I know what unnatural strength feels like. I literally had bruises of the actual cage on my side from where she was just pressing against me, and that's never happened in any of my fights.
Right.
So
How do you prepare? Being as disciplined as you are, you say it's a full-time thing. So how do you prepare? Walk me through your typical day of prepping for a show or competition.
yeah. Well, it depends on how much time I have, honestly. But usually it's 2 to 3 times a day that I'm training. Not all of them are gun-ho. You gotta be careful, especially at my age. Like, you have to be smart about the training.
21?
Yeah,
I know
wish.
you said 27.
21
Look
at
like a
heart.
kid. Look like a kid.
I just turned 23, actually. Or 23. 33.
You don't
Now
look
you
33. Yeah, see? You don't look 33.
33, I turned 18th of last month.
Wow.
So as you get older, especially in this sport, it's brutal. I don't think I've ever had as many injuries in my entire life, broken bones and stuff like that, just from training. The training itself is hard. But I wake up and I make sure that I get my food. I used to be able to train on fasted stuff in the morning when I had to cut a lot of weight. Now I have to have my food because, like, I need my energy. So I have, like, a little protocol now, and I still don't have it right. Like, I still overtrain and don't eat enough, I think. I don't have a nutritionist. And a lot of people that's at my level, they have that.
Why don't you have one?
I don't have, I just haven't had one. I mean, I had one for a little while that helped me, but I wasn't able to see him personally, and I don't like that as much. I would rather know someone personally that was,
Sure.
And I haven't had anyone that was recommended that's in with my sport and with women. So it's a little bit different.
Well, that's a big one with the women because we're so technical.
And my gym is smaller. My gym is not like you hear American Top Team. Everyone knows that name, American Top Team. Everyone knows Champions MMA for our jiu-jitsu, but they don't. It's not like you have UFC Performance Institute. All that stuff is readily available for different fighters. And bigger schools have other things that are readily available. They have nutritionists, they have chiropractor, they have all that stuff. Where I am, I don't have all that.
So you're like Rocky Balboa.
Yeah. I struggle. I pay, stuff out of my pocket, and that's what hurts even more with the fighting and everything. I put money, time, and my whole heart and soul, and
well, people don't think there's a lot of money spent in
oh my gosh,
MMA.
Oh, they
So
have
there
no
is.
idea. Yes, we pay out of pocket we have to have blood work done depending on where you're fighting, every 6 months to
That's a
every year.
requirement.
Mm-hmm. You have to have, now at my age, after a certain age, you have to have MRIs, EKGs, all that stuff comes out of our pocket. And for a long time, I didn't even have health insurance. And the only time you're covered is if you fight for a promotion, and they usually cover you for that fight alone. Not for the fight camp, not for any of the injuries that you sustain in the fight camp, which you definitely do.
I
But
couldn't imagine if we had that in our industry where you have to get constantly, having MRIs and all this stuff done.
all the time.
Blood work, I am trying to push that because that is something we do need to have done.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think some places require every 6 months, some places require every year. I do think that every 6 months is a little bit, but that's just because I'm paying for it. So of course
Right.
I'm going to be like, oh.
Yeah, it's not cheap either.
It's not. It's not at all. Physicals every year. It's a lot. People don't realize. I mean, just the supplements. Luckily, Titan Medical.
Sure.
Titan Medical Center definitely helps with their amazing supplements, and the injectable aminos are godsend.
Yeah. those
Oh
are
my
the
gosh.
best. Yeah, absolutely.
And my immune system, because I cut weight all the time, when I first started, really killed my immune system. So it's funny, everyone's like, you're a professional athlete. You eat great. You drink tons of water. You should be fine. I'm like, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
My immune system, I hurt my immune system, and it hasn't been right since. Same thing with my metabolism. That's why it was so hard to cut weight after hurting my body for so long. Cutting weight the wrong way, because I didn't have someone to tell me how to do it the right way. I starved myself, and that's like the worst thing that you can do.
Starving yourself.
And my body held on stuff.
So now that you're getting back into the swing of things, are you going to still do your own nutrition? Or are you going to maybe...
I'm really going to focus on finding someone
Yeah.
to help me. I really need that, and I know I need that. And I need a sports psychologist as well, because
I was just gonna say, right, yeah.
I know I need that. I never have felt like I needed it before. I always felt like I'm able to handle whatever, but this past year is the only time that I'm human, and I let it get to me
I
a
thought
lot.
you were a machine.
I know, I thought so too.
Wait a minute, you're also known as the Black Widow in relation to Marvel character,
Yeah,
right?
no. I get
How many
that
times do you get that?
all the time.
Yeah.
Every interview before a fight. So you have a thing like you love Black Widow? I'm like,
Did you give
mean, she's
yourself
all
that
right.
name?
no, my coach did. So usually fighters don't get to pick their name. The coach does.
I didn't know that.
Usually, I'm sure some have. I wanted Tornado, but Tiny Tornado is already Tisha Torres. So he's like, nope, there's already a Tornado. I'm like, all right.
You don't like the Black Widow.
I didn't at first. It has grown on me now.
so
I
that's
actually like it.
badass
Yeah. I do like it, except for being asked if I have like an addiction to the Black Widow
Black
Avenger.
Right. No.
But yeah, I thought he named me the Black Widow because I had a tattoo on the back of my neck of a Black Widow, because I liked certain things about Black Widows. I thought it was very interesting. The female was more venomous than the male, and I just found it
Like
interesting.
fucking people up. That's it.
Yeah, that's
Black Widow, Black Widow bite will fuck you up.
It took me over a year to ask him because I didn't think about it. I just assumed, what assuming does. But for a long time, that it was on the back of my neck. That's what he named me that for. And finally, I asked him, and he was like, no, it's because, you fuck up the guys. You're this blonde chick, and you're the only girl in the gym, and everyone underestimates you, and you're strong, and you dominate the men. And I was like, oh, well, I like that reason a lot better.
How does it make you feel knowing that you can whoop a lot of guys or a lot of people's asses? That you are
I
strong.
love it. People underestimate a woman in general.
Mm-hmm.
I love when people underestimate me. It's like my biggest weapon, and everyone does.
I would like to see, do you have a TikTok?
I do.
Okay. I don't know if you've already done this, but I would love to see a video of you in dressy business type with clothes covering up,
Okay.
and then you as the badass bitch
Yeah.
of MMA showing the different look.
think I have one similar
Do
to
you?
that already. I think it's not. I don't know about business, but I do have one that.
Something you're just covering where you don't.
I want to say it was like it's under the sauce. Like someone was like, "Oh, you're too pretty to be a fighter," and then I like switched over to me and the gi. That's like it's under the sauce, and then I switched back and like I said it's under the sauce again, and I was in my MMA gear.
What do you think of people telling you you're too pretty to be a fighter? Does that drive you crazy?
That is like my biggest pet peeve. Like, why do you do that? You're so pretty. I was like, well, if I cared about being pretty, yes, I'm grateful.
You're gorgeous.
Thank you. I'm grateful, but if I cared about being pretty, I probably wouldn't have chose this profession. But also, everyone's like, well, you probably win because you look gorgeous. I'm like, you heal. Like, your body heals. I've been fucked up. Like, this face was unrecognizable at certain times, but you heal.
What's the longest recovery you ever had after a show or after a fight?
For me, feeling back to 100%, probably these two. I still am not 100%. Like I'm going to get there before my next fight, though. Like I've got to. It took me 10 weeks off from having 2 surgeries and the anesthesia and stuff like that. It's probably those two. I almost died twice in the hospital. So yeah,
Last year?
I almost did. Yeah, it was 6 months ago. And I actually fought, what was it, like 4 months ago? So.
How do you do it? How do you get this?
I don't know, because I struggled in that fight camp a lot. There was things I had to take 10 weeks off after getting the 2 surgeries for risk of hernia from ab stuff. So my lower back and it was weak, and I didn't give it time. I went right from not doing anything really and just doing little that I can do or was allowed to do to full force fight camp, which was the stupidest thing I probably could have done, but I could not pass up that opportunity. I wanted to fight.
Right.
Bad choice on my part. It really was, because, I think, Bellator knows I'm still number 10 on the top 10.
Wow.
I think they are fully aware because of my debut. Thank God I was able to show myself,
Sure.
at least in one of my fights for Bellator so
Right.
far, that I am a good fighter. But my last 2 fights haven't shown that my ability.
Nobody's perfect. And listen, I think that when you do come back, you're going to be kicking ass. People will be like, holy shit.
Oh, that's what I want. I want them to remember that, don't you can't go based on every fight. People have no idea what people go through in fight camps, and it is so difficult. Especially, we have 3 kids between my husband and I. Mm-hmm. To be a mother and a fighter in fight camp is one of the hardest things, because you have to be a fighter. You have to be selfish, but at the same time, you have to be a mother. And you have to be there for your kids, and you have to be there for the soccer games. You have to be there for that. So
you're a soccer mom too.
Yeah.
Do you kick the
I don't
soccer
look like a
mom's
normal
ass?
soccer mom, do I?
No, you're like the hot soccer mom.
They don't talk to me. The other moms don't talk to me.
Of course they don't. But, that is difficult, going through all that and then having a family and then...
Having people, social media, luckily I have never given a shit what people thought about me, and that is a gift. I'm so thankful that I don't. I am me, raw and uncut. Like, I am me. But I see some of the other fighters that are like, man, people are brutal on social media. That, it's usually the ones that are fat sitting on the couch just not doing a damn thing for themselves that are the most judgmental. Mm-hmm. And the things that they say really affect people, and they don't realize it. They have no idea what people, I put my heart and soul into it. If I gave a shit, I would be really affected by the things that they say, because these people, never once have I went on social media and ever said something mean to someone.
No, and everything that I've read about you, you've never said anything mean about anybody.
I'm not a judgmental person. I really try to support people. Mm-hmm. I try to encourage people. I want to inspire people. I think that if it makes you happy, go for it.
What would you say to a young girl who wanted to be an MMA fighter? What would you say to her?
Do it as soon as possible. Get into it as soon as possible. It's even if they didn't want to become an MMA fighter and it was just for defense. I think every woman should, because like I said, I'm all for a woman being able to defend themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons why I got started in it. And I will never have another man put his hands on me without me beating his ass. So I definitely think that it's dedication. You've got to have your heart and soul into it. You can't just half-ass it. You're going to get hurt.
Going back to the domestic thing, so you were in a domestic relationship.
Yes, I've been
Did
multiple.
you whoop his ass?
Towards the ends, yes. Yes, that's when I actually started.
Did you stay with them, though, when that was happening, or did you just immediately leave?
I stupidly stayed because of my son. I stupidly stayed.
So I've been in a similar position myself.
It's
So
hard.
I understand. It is hard. Some people think, oh, you could just go leave. No, it's not that easy.
No.
You
And
know?
I know it's like a thing mentally that you feel like they make you feel like not another person will love you, that you're
Sure.
a piece of garbage, and you start to believe it yourself.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until I actually started just going to the gym and feeling good about myself that I realized like I'm so much better than this.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what like,
And then surrounding yourself by positive people,
yes.
you know.
Mhm.
I went through this in my early 20s, and then I was like, F you,
Yeah.
you know.
It's funny. It's like a light switch, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like I remember the moment that I felt like I got goosebumps. I remember the moment that I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm never going to let him make me feel like that again. So it was,
I packed up everything I had, put it in my car, and I left, and I never went back because I was done. I didn't need that. But
yeah.
you
Yeah.
are so impressive and inspiring. When I met you at a tight medical event, just talking to you, I'm like, look at this fucking badass girl. She's beautiful.
That was my first time ever doing a modeling thing, too.
Was it really?
The runway. Yeah.
You worked it
But
well.
it was fun.
Yeah. You're just inspiring. You're very empowering. And, you know, I do want to touch base on what you went through. You almost died twice.
Twice. I almost didn't wake up
In a
from the
year.
second surgery.
And you still like, oh, I'm going to go fight. Because it was one of those rare opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And you regret doing it because you feel like you needed more time.
Yeah, I definitely needed more time. I didn't give my body enough healing time. I didn't give my mental, everything that I went through. I think I jumped into fights to avoid thinking about, like, you know, Andy Papa. He's the one that passed away. That was like a father. He was closer to me than most of my family ever was, and he, like, it bothered me. I was nonstop crying every day. And until I got word of a fight. And
How
then,
did you meet him?
Actually, so through family. It was when I was young too, and my mother and I, we didn't really see eye to eye on religion, her religion, and we had a lot of problems. So I moved in with him, you know, with her blessing and everything
Sure,
as well,
sure.
and he became my father. Like, he was old enough to be my grandpa, but
Sure,
he was my father. Yeah, he was.
And
He
your biggest
supported me,
fan.
and my biggest fan.
Aw.
And it was kind of all of a sudden that he passed away. So it hurt a lot, but it was crazy how I was crying so much in such a deep depression that I've never felt before. Even when my father passed away, my father was a little different.
He was a police officer, right?
He was.
Yeah.
He was actually also FBI agent, SWAT. He did it all.
FBI and SWAT?
Yeah, my dad was a tough guy. Tough guy.
Wow.
I wouldn't take away anything from what I endured as a kid because it made me who I am today. But it was a lot. He's a lot. He was a lot.
Right.
But yeah, I never felt what I felt like I did with Andy Papa. And I've dedicated my last two fights for him, but the one that really matters is when I win for him. But
Yes. Well, listen, I mean, the dedication, I mean, that's, you know.
I
even
know
though
he
you didn't-
would be happy regardless.
Right. Well, I'm very sorry about that.
It's
you
okay.
know.
Yeah,
And- but, you
it's
know,
crazy how the fight camp just made me stop thinking about. Like, it didn't make me stop thinking about it, but like my focus, I jumped into it to avoid it, and I didn't realize that at the time. But I focused my energy somewhere else, and that was able to help me survive, even though it
and
probably
now-
drained me of everything I had.
And now, I mean, obviously, you're in a better position, right?
I think so. I feel a lot better.
Especially going from Cancun, Mexico.
Yeah, that was that was much needed. That was an incredibly beautiful place. We did not want to leave. We have responsibilities and children.
Now, coming back from Cancun, of course, being here, what is your goals for this coming year?
I'm going to be competing a lot more.
How soon do you want to compete?
I'm going to get back into it because I have, like I said, taken a little bit of time off. I need to get my cardio back where it's supposed to be. My weight has kept good, so that's good. I don't have to worry about that. Sometimes I've taken a week or two off, and I've come back and I was heavier. So I've actually really done good on my weight. Just getting back in fight shape, getting the areas that I need strengthened, especially with my core and everything.
Tell me
It
about
won't
the
take
cardio.
long.
Cardio is like doing regular machines. You're running. What are you doing?
No, just MMA. Just so jiu-jitsu is one type of cardio. boxing and kickboxing is another one. I'm telling you, wrestling, it's all different cardio. It's insane. You think your cardio is good until you do that stuff. It's insane. I can't even explain it.
Listen, I just had a professional wrestler on last week.
Oh, they're the most tough.
I was done. 5 minutes into it, I'm huffing and puffing, and I was done.
It's a different kind of cardio, especially wrestlers. Like, I'm telling you, their wrestling cardio is insane.
Mm-hmm.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
So, yeah, I'm going to suffer for
So
a
you
couple
got to
weeks.
do a lot of cardio, get all that back on track, and then of course the dieting. It makes a big difference.
Yes, it makes me
But
feel
you
so
were
much
cutting
better.
calories and like literally not even eating.
Yeah,
So how do you have your strength?
I didn't. There was times that when I really cut down to 125, I actually broke my hand because I was so malnutritioned. Like, it was so bad. I had barely 500 calories,
And
and
you
I was
still
training
kept on
3 times a day.
fighting?
Yeah, I was getting yelled at. My coach was like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, I don't have any energy. I don't.
Now, let's go into this. This is what's interesting about you that I love. You're so determined. You had a chance to be on WWE. You turned it down.
Yeah, I want to focus on my career.
But you had an opportunity where you could be making a lot of money. You're in the spotlight. All this stuff could have opened up a ton of doors. And listen, you're going to have 100 doors opening up here.
I was gonna say I probably wouldn't put it out of the picture completely
No,
because
yeah.
I enjoy doing TV stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I have a blast every time that I'm on TV. Everyone said, like, you seem like a natural. I enjoy it.
Oh, you have a great personality.
Thank you.
Great.
I really enjoy doing that kind of stuff, and I actually got an offer possibly to be in a movie next year that's coming out August 2023. We'll see how that goes. But like I said, if it's going to take away from, I want to climb that ladder, that top 10, and at least fight for the title.
If you win a fight, say a title fight, you win. Are you going to be done? You're going to keep on going?
I don't know. I want to say now I would like to keep going, but it depends on how I feel and how old I am.
How old you are, right? Who's the oldest fighter now? What's the
Actually, my
average?
friend Roxanne Modafferi, she fights for UFC. She's, I want to say 39, 40. I want to say. Usually women can usually go a little longer than men, it seems like. But, and I also got started later, so I haven't taken well, I won't say that I haven't taken punishment, because I definitely have. But I haven't taken punishment for as long as some people. Some, started early. Boxing and stuff like that, all that head trauma adds up.
Right.
So if you do it for a longer amount of time, your window starts closing a lot sooner.
You ever had any concussions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually, so talking about knockouts, I've actually been hit one time where I've never been knocked down. Right. Knock on wood, but I've never been knocked down, but I have been hit where I couldn't feel my legs and couldn't move them.
Oh,
and
God.
I actually won all 5 rounds up until it was my last amateur fight, and it was a title fight. I won every round. I kicked her butt every round except for the last 10 seconds when I thought it was over. I let my guard down, and she hit me, and I landed on the fence, and I grabbed the fence cage. I grabbed the cage. It was just habit, to not fall down, and I couldn't feel my legs. If he would have just let me fall in that last 10 seconds, I still would have won. But he didn't. He called it, and I was like, dang, that sucks.
Because you won every round, you still would have won even though if you would have.
If I would have just fallen down, and even if she would have got on top of me and just punched, it wasn't long enough for her to finish me.
What does it mean when they win by decision?
So they did just enough point-wise to do a little better, if that makes any sense. So my last opponent, she and her and my games are pretty much similar. We both like to take them to the cage, take them down, and do our jiu-jitsu. We're known for that. Is very similar. So until the first round was done, and she realized that because I had got to the ground and I almost submitted her twice and got her in the beatdown position in the last 10 seconds, she changed her game completely.
Right.
Completely. She stays standing with me and just pretty much would do 1, 1, 2, and run away. Like in the entire time. Like,
so this was her tactic.
And but it did. It worked. It worked, and it, you know.
I watched some of the fight, and it just
I
seemed like a
done more.
sissy, like on her end.
It does to an extent.
Like
It's smart. It
right.
is to me. Like, if you're going to be in a fight, go for it. But then again, like, I guess you can't always do that.
Do you have to go all the rounds? I mean, how does that work? Do you have to do so many rounds and then?
So if you're going to go to decision, it's usually 3 5-minute rounds.
Mm-hmm.
If you fight for a title, it's 5 5-minute rounds, depending on the promotion. But so if a decision is like neither one of you finish each other, so by the judges sitting around the cage, and it all depends on what the judges is seeing too. Like, so it depends on what judges is looking. They could like her better. They could like me better. It could be completely biased.
Like her better as far as how
but usually
she's
it's
moving
fair.
and-
Yeah, usually it's fair. They usually pick, you know, especially with big promotions like Bellator. But I always had a problem. I always went to the fighters. I always went. They never came to me to fight. So I would always go to their hometown, which causes a problem. If you don't finish them, it's gonna go to them. They're the ones, you know, that brought the crowd. That they're the loved ones. You got to finish them.
Do you have somebody in mind that you would like to fight or challenge?
Anyone above me on the top 10. I just want to keep moving up. So
You ever met Ronda Rousey?
I have not. I actually did not like her personality at all. At all. But she was
Seems
great.
very-
She actually brought up the sport for
Yeah.
women MMA, but
She seems very into herself.
until she lost, but that's why actually I ended up not liking her more, is because
She's a bad sport about
she
it.
was a very
Yeah.
bad, like she took it so bad.
did.
Like, you've got to suck it up and learn from it. If you can't learn from your losses and take a loss, you're not a champion. Real champions lose a hell of a lot of times before they become the champion. It's not like you just go undefeated. Not in this sport. You can't. You can maybe go for a little while, unless you're Khabib. He's undefeated, and he retired undefeated.
Wow.
That's very rare.
Right. What is your mindset before every fight? Do you have a ritual that you do?
No. So
Do most fighters have rituals that they
it
do?
seems like it.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and I'm not sure what's wrong with me. That's why I don't know. It depends on who I'm fighting. It also, like the last 2 fights, I'm never nervous before a fight, but I also was representing the entire United States of America
Right.
on the last card. Like, I was the only fighter from
Wow.
America. So
That's a lot of pressure, right?
I felt it for the first
Right.
time. I actually felt a little bit of pressure, and it wasn't, I'm not scared of getting hurt. I'm not scared of losing. I don't want to lose. None of us want to lose when we step in that cage, but I don't know. I felt the pressure, and I was, a little nervous for disappointing my entire country. I don't know.
You did not disappoint your country.
I felt like I did, though.
No, you didn't.
I felt like I let everyone down.
You would disappoint by not showing up, or like some people just
Chicken
out. Does
It
that ever
happens all
happen?
the time. Yes,
So
there
it
was
does.
actually one. I hate this guy. And hate's a strong word. I don't ever use that. But this guy, he used to train at our gym, and he didn't show for 2 different fights. Put a bad name on our school and everything because he's just that much of a dirtbag. Like
What was his reasoning?
but he would have something to say about everyone. He didn't have a reason. He said
He
the other
didn't
guy,
show
he
up.
was telling other people that the other guy didn't show up. I said, you are the coward of coward. Like, I have no
He's a
respect
pro
for him.
fighter.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he just get out? I don't get that.
I don't know. I don't know. If I knew.
I wish you can fight him.
Oh,
Man, can you imagine that match?
we've
Ew.
trained together, but
You whoop his ass.
He's all steroided up, but I have no respect for him whatsoever. Just people that do that, like, and the people that have spotless records. If you look up the people that are more dangerous are usually the ones that don't have fantastic records, like the undefeated records and stuff like that, because they're actually fighting somebody's. That's what my last opponent actually said in her interview about me, even though she said some like really mean stuff beforehand. So I was
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
impressed that she actually said something like towards the good side. But she said that my record, because I was 3-3, at the time, and she's like, her record really doesn't give her as much justice as how much of a good fighter she is. And I thought that was really like, thank you, because she said I fought good people. I do fight good people. I don't try to fight nobodies.
Sure.
A lot of the people that have spotless records or 6-1 or whatever, if you look at the people they fought, a lot of them are debut people, and they just keep fighting people that have never fought before. Like, what is that going to do for you?
Yeah.
My first pro fight was against a girl that was, I want to say she was 8-6, and she fought for Bellator and multiple Invicta. So she had multiple fights, and I went to her hometown.
Explain going to their hometown. What does that mean?
So whatever promotion is in their state or whatnot that they usually will fight at, or if they can fight there, because Bellator doesn't really come to Florida. They actually first came to Florida in November this past year for the first time in years.
Why don't they go to Florida?
I don't know. It's a huge MMA thing, but I think it's because Showtime. Showtime kind of like controls where they go with that. So
is Showtime now? Bellator is owned by Viacom, right?
I believe so.
They're like huge now. They're actually bigger than UFC.
They have. I'm telling you, they treat their fighters really good at Bellator. So there was more option and better pay and just better opportunity.
So you don't really brag a lot about yourself either. You're very humble, I notice.
I try to be.
Why? You should brag about yourself.
I don't know. I don't like the cocky. I don't.
You're
like
fighter of the year in Florida 2019. Am I right?
Yeah, the up and coming fighter of the year and pro fight. Or I'm sorry, it was breakthrough fighter of the year.
Breakthrough fighter.
And pro MMA fighter.
Florida's
of the year.
a big hub for MMA fighting.
And they have a lot of people that are amazing fighters. But it's just that one was really more on votes, and I guess I was liked in Florida.
Do you ever train people or help girls out who want to get involved?
I try to. It's hard when I'm in fight camp.
Sure.
It's
what's fight camp like? It just sounds like something like you go in a room, you got a little cot, and then you come out and just fight, and then you go back in the room.
No, kind of, I guess you could say, but it's you go to different gyms and you have to cross train. I have to go travel or have girls come to me because it's different when you can't train with just guys. Girls train and fight differently. We're more flexible. We're usually more aggressive. We fight differently.
Girls are more aggressive than men.
Oh, yeah. If you look at the girl fights, usually, way more entertaining than the guys.
Okay.
Usually. Sorry, guys. But so you have to train with them because we're being more flexible and stuff like that. You have to get used to that. So it's kind of hurtful that, like, I don't have a lot of girls to train with on a normal basis. And my last fight, actually, I didn't have my normal guy pro fighters that I normally have. I didn't have anyone. So I had the last week of my fight camp, I had girls come in to help me, and I really appreciated that. But you need more time than that.
Do they just
usually.
volunteer to come in? Hey, I'd like to have my ass kicked by you. Or
No, we paid them to.
You got to pay them to
Well,
come
you don't have to, but we offered. I needed it. The two fighters that I normally train with, Jamal Rodriguez, he's a pro fighter as well. He fights for Combat. Well, I believe he does anyway. He was in Puerto Rico training. So he was gone. And then Damien, which is an amazing fighter, he's pro as well. He had a collapsed lung. So it was crazy. I was like, man, I was glad that I at least had Damien, and then that happened. So
What's the COVID testing now with these fights? You guys get a swab, do all this?
Yeah, you still have to get tested even if you get vaccinated, which you are required to get vaccinated. So, yeah.
They require you to get vaccinated.
Yeah, and they didn't tell me that until...
Wait a minute. So
Yeah.
you have to be vaccinated in order to fight?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't people have rights?
That's what... I was totally against it, to be honest with you. I did not... That's how bad I wanted to fight, though. Like, that was...
I get it.
And I did it right before I was hoping I didn't have any side effects, because you hear all these people having side effects, and I had just had, like, the surgeries and stuff, and pneumonia, and I was literally sick before that fight, 2 weeks before the fight, just because my body wasn't used to everything I was exerting.
Sure.
So I was up and down through that whole fight camp. And then I got vaccinated. I was sick, actually, when I got vaccinated. I was really sick. I didn't get tested, so I don't know if I maybe had it at that time, but... I had to hide being sick to get that vaccine because I had to get it right then because it was so close to my fight. So I got even worse. I got even worse sick. But then I healed and I got a little bit better, and then it's just, I worked through what I had to work through. People don't understand what goes on behind the scenes. You can be as critical as you want, but until you've done it, shut it. Like I tell people all the time, like they always have something to say, but they have never even stepped foot in training.
Like these
they
trolls.
They can't survive training, much less going into the cage and being just you out there by yourself, not a team behind you, like, you know, football players and stuff like that. You're by yourself. You understand, because the figure, you're going out there all by yourself. All eyes are on you.
Sure. Now let me ask you this: do we have transgender fighters?
I believe so. There's that one that everyone was talking about. I can't remember her name. It was like it was like everyone.
How did she do?
I guess she like broke someone's skull. So that was what was the issue, I guess, because they're like, you should not fight women.
Right.
And then,
What are your? May I ask what your thoughts are on that?
I don't think it's fair. It's kind of like steroids to me.
Yeah,
like you're naturally stronger than. Of course, you're gonna be like, or fight up a weight class or something, or it's not fair.
Make it fair,
Yeah.
right? So for us, when we have like bodybuilding show, whatever, what we'll do, you allow them, of course, compete, but they probably will not place top because
that's what I would assume
fair.
too.
Yeah. Probably, we'll let them, let them do their
go
thing.
out there, do their.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a judge's call. I've seen it happen a few times. So.
Really.
But I had to ask you because I know about the testosterone and.
Yeah, I don't. I like playing fair.
Sure.
I would rather. I don't agree with that at all.
You still, knowing you can still whoop.
I was gonna
ass.
say, yeah, most
Regardless.
of us probably could, but I mean,
How many people have you fought who thought that they're the shit? Oh, I'm better than you, and then you come in and you just wipe the floor clean with them.
A lot. I've actually made quite a few of the fighters stop fighting.
How many fights have you had total since you started?
17.
17.
Yeah, so I did
Then
10
your
amateur fights,
okay.
and then 7 pro. And there was more scheduled, but I had injury. Like I had broke my hand. I had 2 title fights lined up in my amateur, and I had 10 amateur fights in 2 years, and I had more than that scheduled. So I went really gun ho whenever I started like.
And
amateur.
what's your incredible husband? You're also your biggest fan. Think of all this.
He is, man. If I didn't have him through all that last year, like he's a godsend.
What does he do for you? Like what's
that's where we actually met. He's actually one of my coaches.
Is he?
He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu and a wrestling coach. So it really helps out because he was the one that I confided in. He was the one that mentally was there for me always. So he was. I think that's what helped our relationship so much.
Did you know that you guys were going to be an item immediately, or it just happened?
No, not at all.
So how did that? So he was your coach.
Yep, he was.
And how did it turn into?
He was actually married. So,
Sure.
but I knew he had issues for a long time, but he was always very respectful. He never ever once crossed that line. Yeah. We were just literally just coach and fighter and confident. Like I confided in him. That's what I think
you
made
felt
it
safe
so
around him.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. He never made me feel uncomfortable. He never crossed that line, which made me even respect him more when he actually moved out and like. Sure. I could tell he was miserable. I understood because I was kind of going through it when I first started too, like with my son's father and everything. I understood. But we actually, just were friends, and I think that's what really helped our like. I didn't even see him that way until after he had left. Like, really, I was like, it's just like it changed. I was
so when he left, you just it flipped around like, oh, there's.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I'm attracted.
It wasn't like his
and it was kind of fast.
Your hand in a certain way. And it's like, oh.
And he's like, from the moment I saw you, he didn't say anything until after. Like after he made that move, and I was like, oh well, he was serious, serious about that. You hear guys all the time,
sure.
Oh, well, I'm not happy. So like, and I thought all guys were the same, honestly, until him. Sorry guys, but past. I never thought in a million years I would get married again. I was completely content being alone. But he said from the moment he had saw me, he said the world stood still.
Aww.
And I was like, oh, whatever, I was so full of crap. All that mushy crap. I was not mushy at all until I wish I would have met him a long time ago, and things were different.
Everything happens for a reason. They prepare you for something awesome, just like all these challenges you went through the last year, I think is preparing you for something epic.
So. That's what you always hear. Like, it always gets worse before it gets better. Yes. And I'm like, all right, then it's time. So I really have a good feeling about this year, though. Like, I really have a good feeling about this year.
So you're starting to feel good again. You're feeling
Yes. Yeah, I
That's
feel like
good.
I literally had a breakthrough on my own.
right. It
And
takes time.
I don't know if you can do that because I don't know. I've never literally had like a sports psychologist or anyone to actually talk to. But I really think that I needed time off. I took time off, and I think I'm much better now.
Well, you've been drilling yourself to the ground constantly.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't ever cry, and I cried more in the last 6 months because of the loss. Like that loss, I've taken worse losses. I've my broke jaw and stuff like that, and I used it as fuel every time. It was not a problem, but these last 2 fights with me feeling at a loss and not knowing, like, I can suspect it was my surgeries, like I can suspect it was this. What if it isn't? Like, and it's in the back of my mind, like mentally, it's messing with me.
Right.
I've never had that problem before.
What else do you do for fun? Do you do anything else? Or are you just fighting, training?
I do. I mean, I like to, we'll have, friends over to go to the pool and stuff like that. We'll go to the beach. I love going to the beach. I love anything outdoors. Anything outdoors is for me. Like,
Do you have any hidden talents? Any secrets you want to... juicy secrets you want to tell us?
So I don't ever get nervous in front of people. I'm actually a pretty good singer, and I dance pretty good, but I don't like doing it in front. Yeah, well, just like, I don't know.
dance?
I've always just... Any kind I've actually ever tried, it's been
So
natural.
you're a good dancer, okay.
I've always enjoyed it too. So I went to a dance class one time, and they're like, they thought I had done it for years. I'm like, no, this is like my first one. I don't know. It comes natural. I just love doing it. But I don't sing in front of people. But my husband has heard me, and a few other people have heard me. And I'm...
So today I don't get to hear her, but that's okay. It's all right. Come on.
I don't know what it is about singing. I think I traumatized myself as a kid.
What if you turned our heads around, you start singing, we're not really looking at you?
I don't think I could.
If you were to sing something like who would you compare yourself to? Mariah Carey?
Oh, God, no.
I sing like Barry White.
Do you really?
No.
Oh, I was like... No, I have no idea who I would compare myself to.
So you like Christina Aguilera, Adele,
I don't know if I'm that.
Cardi B?
No, I would definitely more like I used to sing Evanescence
yeah.
a lot,
great.
but I don't know if I was that good.
She's great.
Has
that voice is killer.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's when I did it a lot, and
Damn.
I don't ever really sing anymore.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell people you're a famous rock star.
Oh God!
Fighter and all this stuff. How many tattoos do you have? I gotta ask that question.
I lost track at like 30 something.
30 something. So
Yes.
more than that. So you probably have.
Probably in the 50s now.
Wow.
Yeah,
What was your
with the
first
cover
one?
ups and everything. The star on my back. Actually, I got 2 the very first time. Is a star on my back, and then the lower back tattoo that says,
I
"What doesn't
should have
kill
took
me,
you.
I'm stronger."
What is it? What does it say?
What doesn't kill me, only makes you
On
stronger.
the lower back?
Yes. But that's
I
Didn't
could
think
say a
that
lot of things about that.
didn't think that one through.
But yeah, that's a good one. I'm sure. Hey, all right. Anyway, that's a great thought in my head now. Thanks a lot.
Sorry. That's so funny. I have never even thought about that until
Now these guys
just
are like,
now.
whoa, wow. Okay. I should have took you to the tattoo salon. I don't have any tattoos,
Really?
and I'm ready to have one. I'm finally ready to do a tattoo.
Well, maybe I'll come back whenever you.
Yeah, because the first time I wanted to do a little dot. Let's see. But I think I'm ready to have a tattoo. Is it painful?
For me, it was not. I feel like it has gotten more painful as you get older, and if you go over scar tissue.
Oh, okay.
So everyone is different too on who has said what was more painful, like which area was more painful. Mine was probably my thigh, and I've had my ribs done.
The ribs got to be painful.
The ribs are a little bit. It was more ticklish, and I can't stand to be tickled, so it was like torture. And then it depends on the tattoo artist too, because if they're more heavy-handed.
Are you going to check out any MMA places here in Phoenix?
I was going to, but probably
you
not.
should, because there's a lot of places
I know.
here.
So actually, my husband's actually really good friends with, I can't remember his name. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But he's a great wrestling coach, and I was going to do that with him, but I don't really have enough, not enough time, but also because I've taken some time off, I don't want to go in looking like absolute garbage.
Besides winning a title match this year and all this other good stuff, what are your other plans?
I'm going to be competing a lot in jiu-jitsu tournaments. So I really want to become IBJJF world champ at brown belt. So this year will mark in November 8 years. So, and I'm a high level brown belt right now. So
do you see yourself doing any maybe some fitness apps, things like that, like some of these?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Probably
I think
not
you do
this
well.
year, just because I really got to focus on the nutrition and getting myself where I need to be. Because I know this year I won't be able to fight for a title. It doesn't usually come that fast. There's other people that I have to really work my way up through the top 10 to be able to get that chance. Unless something happens and I just am able to get that freak chance. And I would definitely take it, even though
How do you
Cyborg and Borga is
Cyborg. What do you think of her?
Oh, she cheats. Well,
Yeah, she does cheat. Yeah,
she's
I
been
agree.
popped multiple times.
Right.
Is she a good fighter? Yes. Is she aggressive? Yes.
Yeah.
But I just didn't think it was done the right way.
right. I agree with that. I think
But
she
I do
cheats.
have a lot of respect for anyone who steps in the cage.
Sure. Without cheating.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, listen, when I first seen her, she's a beast, but she cheats.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's been clarified multiple times, confirmed.
What do you think? Do you think they could do anything about that? Or they're just going to let it go, or do they do that because they want the people, to sell the tickets?
They
Just
do
let it
love
go?
her. I
Yeah.
mean, and she's a really a good person. Anyone that has met her said the same thing. She seems to be a really, she's not cocky about it. So I do like that. There's things I like about it, but
How do you market yourself, putting yourself out there in the sport? What's the best way to do that? I mean, you have a manager, or is your
honestly,
husband
I
your
really
manager?
do. My husband really does a lot. I do a lot of it on my own. To be honest with you, my coach does mainly the MMA stuff, but anything else, I handle that on my own. My husband helps out as much as
I
he can.
love your Instagram.
Yeah, but
It's fun.
I try to be. I really like humor.
Yeah.
So, TikToks and stuff. I enjoy it. I don't make money off my TikToks and stuff like that, but I enjoy it. And not everyone likes my dark humor or my dirty
I
humor.
like the dark humor
But-
and the dirty humor.
I do too, and people take it too seriously sometimes.
In
and
this day and age, they absolutely do.
it sucks because they're missing out on life to me. And if you're not laughing and if you're taking life too seriously, you're missing out on the whole point of life.
What do your kids think of what you do?
They love it. So my son, they have all tried it too, and his daughter's the only one that really has taken like a liking to it. I think that she's a little aggressive little girl. She's so cute. I love her. But the boys, no interest whatsoever. In my opinion, most people don't take an interest in it because it is so hard. They would rather, be in a sport that has a team behind you and not all eyes are on you. It takes a special someone to be able to deal with that you got to get beat a lot. You got to get beat, and you got to be okay with getting beat before getting better. And a lot of people don't. They don't like that. They don't like being put on the spot. They don't like getting beat in front of people. They don't, and a lot of kids are like that. They would
What is
rather
your
be in a
favorite
team.
move to do?
Armbar. I'm known for my armbar, but I actually have a good Kimura too. I use the Kimuras to actually get the armbars too. So
We
there's a
may
lot of
try that
transition.
on me. Just don't kill me,
I won't.
please. I like my body and my
Those are
arm.
what I'm really good at. My coach even says I'm black belt level at Kimura's black belt level, and that's why I was so surprised she got out of it. Actually, she just got her black belt. My
Oh,
last
wow.
opponent just got promoted to black belt,
Well,
which I was like, man, and I almost finished you multiple times.
yeah, right. Well, listen, if there's anything you want to say to your sponsors, your husband, your kids, anyone, you can cuss, do whatever you want. Go for it. Give us all your social media. If you have merchandise, anything. Put it out there.
Everything
You
is
want to
pretty
cuss
much
out opponents. Put it out there.
for all the people that have beat me. I know for a fact that I can beat you. When I'm me, 100%, I know I can. I'm just saying. Anyway, but if you want cocky, there you go. I know I can, everyone that I've lost against. But for all my sponsors, everyone that stands behind me and has stood behind me my entire career, I appreciate you guys more than I could ever explain. My family, my kids, our kids, my husband, my coaches, my teammates, every single one of you guys do so much more for me than I could ever thank you guys for. And I love you guys. My sponsors that helped me get through just a little bit, taking off a little bit of the edge for paying and stuff like that, that you guys helped me, you know, be the best I can be, even if I'm going through stuff physically and mentally. I really appreciate you guys standing behind me. And this year's going to be better. Black Widow's just getting started.
Hell yeah. You heard it here first, folks. Jessica Borga.
Yes.
Professional MMA fighter for Bellator, the Black Widow. She's going to be kicking ass, taking titles, and we're going to be seeing lots of her. Best of luck to her. Thank you so much for being on the show. It was a pleasure having you. She's going to destroy me in a few minutes here. You'll see the video soon. I feel sorry for myself. This is probably going to be my last video.
I feel bad for you, too. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate
I don't
it.
feel very good right now. Anyway, good Rockstar out. Till next time. Mwah. Peace.